Fives, sixes, and sevens. I'm casting the light on you today, our head-centered friends. I'm looking at what grabs your attention and the subsequent patterns that unfurl in the ways that you think, feel, and behave. Let's observe. The Enneagram tells us that we have 3 centers of intelligence. These centers help us filter our experience of the world in order to help us both make sense of and survive this life. And for 5s, 6s, and 7s, that center is the head or brain. Each center of intelligence, keep in mind, has its own unique logic. But for the head triad types, they're relying on particular kinds of data points that they can observe to make sense of things. The core emotion of this center of intelligence is fear, and this is going to have a direct impact on what we're talking about today, which is how they think, feel, and act. 5s are first up. As their name, the investigator or the observer, indicates, 5s are information gatherers. And they do this in an emotionally removed manner, meaning they don't entangle themselves with others. As far as attention goes, they're keen to observe what's going on around them, staying objective to the information, rather than internalizing or taking things personally. It may come as a shock to first-time Enneagram students that 5s are a part of the fear triad, since they appear impassive or phlegmatic. But fear is a response to either the overwhelm or utter lack of emotional support that they experienced in their early years. With tons of practice of emotional detachment, 5s default to living in their heads, and any emotional need or demand placed upon them can very much trigger them into a space of wanting to further detach in terms of their time and their energy. It can feel a little disjointed talking about thoughts and feelings in the same breath with 5s, since they are constantly insisting that these two things don't belong side by each. See, 5s generally don't trust feelings, but that actually helps us spell out what the pattern is. It's to detach emotionally, remain visibly stoic, and discredit or discount the intelligence that feelings can provide us if we are emotionally regulated. Instead, they overprivilege information and can run into the problem of overconsumption when we look at their behavioral patterns. And of course, we also see 5s demonstrate reservation towards others and introverted tendencies, which aren't by nature a problem unless we're talking about the extreme versions that are driven by fear or an anxious need to protect themselves from being depleted. So let's talk about 6s. 6s are hyper-focused on what could go wrong. Their attention fixates on detecting threats and brainstorming and creating solutions for those potential threats. So fear sits solidly in the driver's seat for 6s, capturing most of their attention in more obvious ways than their neighboring fear triad types. Similar to type 4s, the subtypes of Enneagram 6 are so distinct that talking about their patterns of thoughts and feelings can be a bit tricky or nuanced. Generally speaking, though, all 3 of the subtypes are concerned with managing uncertainty and doing their best to be analytical and strategic. The experience of fear can be so dominant in the life of a 6 that they have less access to other feelings, although of all 3 head types, they are arguably the ones who feel the most. Behaviorally, we run into the same issue describing 6s because the subtypes are so different. All are very alert and desire good authority that can provide them with as much certainty as possible. They're also naturally great problem solvers. They can be loyal and thoughtful to those providing altruistic leadership and direction, and highly suspicious, even rebellious when trust is broken or cause for question. If you're finding it helpful getting inside the head triad's experience of fear, understanding how they're navigating this world, please take a second to click the like button and subscribe to the channel, and you can ring the bell for notifications when new videos are posted. And now for 7s. 7s keep an upbeat, positive focus on what feels pleasant. In order to desperately avoid unpleasant feelings, they will stay future-focused on bright possibilities, creative problem solving, and will reframe as many negative things as possible into a positive. They have quick, adaptive minds that can synthesize all kinds of information. With this quick pace in their thoughts, they want to move just as quickly with their emotions. So when they experience something that's uncomfortable, they want to jump to something more enjoyable or pleasant instead of actually processing what they really feel. So you're hearing the quick pace with which 7s live. Behaviorally, they are quite energetic, extremely active, and like to have many things on the go. They're enthusiastic about planning fun, but can be very non-committal if a plan or tentative plan looks like it's going to impede their opportunity for something more enjoyable. In one way or another, each of the head triad types are focused on being alert or aware of their surroundings so that they can shift or adapt themselves to make their immediate environment less overwhelming than what they're currently experiencing. With fear driving the bus, they tend to fixate on how they can anticipate and or eliminate that overwhelm with their respective logic.